If your class won't settle down, there are 6 possible reasons for this. We're going to go over those reasons. And then I'm going to reveal what you need to do right now if this is happening to you. But please, first, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so the first potential reason and likely reason, and really all of these are likely reasons if you're having trouble settling your class down, it can be traced to these 6. The first is your temperament. Your temperament. If you are nervous, if you bring nervous energy to your classroom, it will transfer to your students in the form of excitability. And so if you're bringing this tension, if you have anxiety and you're overly excited, your students are going to feel it. Now, it's okay to show your enthusiasm and excitement while you're teaching lessons. At all other times, you should be as calm as you can possibly be. We describe it here at Smart Classroom Management as being as calm as a mountain lake or a Tibetan monk. These are the thoughts you need to have in your head when you're standing in front of your class. And so your temperament is the first thing you need to look at. Your students are going to take their cue from you. Now we have other videos on how to be calm throughout the school day. You can check those out. Also, any questions about anything we cover in these videos, everything has been written about extensively with all of the strategies over at smartclassroommanagement.com. The second thing is your voice. Most teachers talk way too much and would do much better and have a much calmer class if they were to cut the amount of talking they do in half. Many teachers would benefit from having the amount of talking they do cut down to 2/3, because the more you talk, the more this translates to more energy from your students and less attentiveness. So they tune you out the more you talk. The less you talk, the more power you have in your words. So you really need to slow down, not talk as much, slow the pace of your talking down. So when you talk very, very quickly, that tends to rev students up as well. The next part of this is you're likely talking too loud. So if your class isn't settling down and you raise your voice to be heard over the din, or you raise your voice in an effort to communicate that you really mean it, then you're going to be talking loud and louder as the year goes on, and students are going to tune you out more and more and more. So you need to cut your talking down, slow your talking down, and lower your voice in order to settle your classroom down. The next thing is movement. These all go together. So when I visit classrooms, I see teachers running around, gathering things, collecting materials, bouncing around, putting out fires, and responding to students all over the classroom with their hands up and doing the sort of things that encourage immature behavior and the kind of behavior where students are dependent on the teacher. This is not the direction you want to go in. The direction you want to constantly push for more independent behavior from your students and higher maturity levels. And part of that is we're going to talk about kind of the next steps. But you need to stay in one place when you're giving direction or giving instruction. You can move around as you're giving, we mentioned before, You can show excitement, enthusiasm during your lessons. So during your lessons, that's when you want to be compelling and you want to show your personality. Other times, when you're just giving directions, instruction, or providing information, you want to stay in one place. This helps students to focus on you. You've been told that you should be moving around and running around the room, and this is a mistake. This is terrible advice. So as much as possible, don't move so much. Move slower, a little bit more gracefully to show you're in control, and these things tend to calm a class down. The next thing is just what we were talking about, your instruction. So while being calm, speaking less, more efficiently with your words, staying in one place, give clear instruction, check and make sure your students understand that instruction. It can be a direction, it can be anything. And then have them do it on their own without you narrating or talking them through it. You need to be silent so they can focus on what they're doing. The other thing is when you're quiet and you give them directions and then you're quiet and let them fulfill those directions, they're thinking to themselves. You want them thinking about what they're supposed to do next. You don't want to remind them and think for them, otherwise they're going to shut their brains off. And this is when they get excited and they misbehave and disrupt your classroom. And so you give a clear direction, check for understanding, say go, and allow your students to fulfill that. And that brings us to the next one, which is really important, is your students need to always have purpose. And this is what that type of instruction does. It gives students purpose. You want them thinking. You want a goal that they need to fulfill. And every single moment of your school day, your students need to be doing something, thinking something, having something that they need to accomplish all day long. Sometimes it's just listening, but they need to know exactly what they're supposed to be doing during that moment. If at any time they don't, if you're not providing purpose, if you are narrating for them and kneeling down to help them on everything, when your students are dependent and immature, then there's going to be chaos. And so you provide the purpose and then you let them fulfill it on their own. And when they finish, you praise, you give them feedback for that. Then you move on to the next thing. When I visit classrooms, it's one of the first things I ask students when I'm walking around. I'll say, what are you doing right now? What are you supposed to be doing? Most of the time, they don't know. They really don't. I think we're supposed to do this, or I'm writing this. Occasionally, they'll say that. It's vague. But most of the time, they won't know. And I hear kids yelling out, what are we supposed to be doing? Out loud to the teacher. This is also really common. And it's very common if you're having trouble settling your students down. If they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, this is going to happen. And this comes from your instruction, a lack of clarity, and also the kids shut their brain off when you're doing all of this stuff. You're narrating and you're nervous and you're running around the room and your back is turned half the time and the students are relying on you so they don't have any goals, then it's going to be chaotic. And this brings me to the obvious one. If your students won't settle down, then that means you weren't consistent in following through on your classroom management plan. And you're also not consistent on these. These have to be a daily habit. So your students know exactly what to expect each day. They know what's expected of them. They have this purpose. They arrive at school and they're not just going to willy-nilly walk into your classroom. Oh, what's going on today? They know the second they walk in, they already have some goals as part of your first routine The entering the classroom routine. They already have like, okay, I've got to do this, 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 and this. And we've talked in other videos about how you want to make your routines more challenging. You want to add things to the routine where they really have things they need to accomplish. And each day you're pushing the envelope on their maturity and on their independence. This keeps them on their toes and fresh and thinking. And by the way, kids love this. It puts responsibility on their shoulders, which they do very well when they have a lot of responsibility. And they want to be in classrooms like this. If they're just sitting there and you're doing everything for them, they're bored. They're bored to death. So you must be consistent in following through on your classroom management plan. So when a student is talking when they're not supposed to, you hold them accountable so it doesn't infect the rest of the class. So your whole class isn't talking and won't settle down. Final thing is, well, what should you do right now? Well, 100%, you have to start over. Because if your classroom won't settle down, you've lost control of your class. And you have to start over again from the beginning, from scratch, teaching your classroom management plan again as if it's for the first time. Teach your routines in extreme detail. Give instruction, teach these things, check for understanding, and then let them do it. That's the secret. You're going to go from one success to the next. And you're going to meet them where they are. So if you have a class who can't do much, they're not used to any of this, maybe they're very young students, kindergarten, first grade, then teach them something simple. Give the instruction, model for them, have students model, and then let them do it on their own and feel success, and then tell them, give them feedback, say that's how you do it, then go on to the next success. And this is how you build a great classroom, your dream class. This is what good teaching looks like. Okay, I hope this video helps. Hope you're having a great week. I'll see you next time.